This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is sponsored by Lever Consulting, editing with a purpose. Check them out at leverconsulting.com for a free consultation.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm V.
And you're listening to Cringe With Me, the podcast where we dig up the cringiest articles, questions, and tidbits of human culture to review with you, our listeners, so you too can cringe with me.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible.
All right, guys, we are back. It is the last month of July. Are you going to top yourself? Because at this point, we know who won this month. It has been.
We don't decide. The votes decide.
You're right.
We'll see how the votes go.
But there's no way. I don't see how anybody could vote against. Anyway, that's for next week. That's for next week. I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic.
I'm going to tell you that I'm definitely not topping myself.
Okay.
But I have one that is cringe and kind of awkward for a number of different reasons.
Okay, good. Because last week was a bummer.
Yeah, this one's not a bummer. It's just kind of weird.
Okay.
It's also a short one.
The weirdness.
So the title really isn't going to set you up for this. Am I the asshole for blindsiding my son's mom with custody papers after a social media post?
Wait. Read that again.
I'm going to go again. Am I the asshole for blindsiding my son's mom with custody papers after a social media post?
Okay, so let me rephrase this. My baby mama be all up on the internet, post something I don't like. Custody agreement.
Custody papers.
Yep.
Yeah, you kind of got the gist of it.
Okay.
I think the interesting part of this one is the topic of the internet post.
God, what post could you possibly do to want to take the kid away?
Well, here we go. My ex and I have a very fragile relationship. I focus more on the kids than her. She remarried, and I don't care for her new husband, but I accept it because they had a baby. Currently, my ex and I share 50-50 custody.
Okay.
All right? My eldest son, who is 8, needed to have a circumcision.
Okay.
All right, so circumcision post. It was something that I wanted to keep under wraps because it's private.
Under wraps.
Lo and behold,
Circumcision.
my ex's husband posts pictures of my son in the hospital and announces that he had a circumcision. And my ex does the same on Facebook.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
So their 8-year-old son has had a circumcision, and both the mom and the new husband post pictures of him in the hospital announcing that he had a circumcision.
That's not something anybody except your romantic partner needs to know about your peewee. Right?
I was outraged and asked them to take it down. Their profiles are not private. They're friends with our kids' teachers and my son's friends' parents.
Oh, well, that poor child's going to get bullied so bad when he gets out of the hospital.
If this was a broken arm, then I wouldn't have cared. Right?
It has to do with his peewee.
Yeah. Both refused, so I spoke with a lawyer who said that I should seek to reduce her custody. She was served on her birthday.
Happy birthday, bitch!
And was pretty upset. I assume she spoke with a lawyer because they not only took down the post, but made it private. I'm sure we'll end up going to mediation.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole?
Mediation's necessary. Why would she post about her child's peewee?
I don't know.
That is... I don't know what I was expecting. I really don't. I have so many questions, but I don't want the answers to them.
One of the interesting things, all the comments on this have been removed.
What?
Every single comment on this post is comment removed by moderator. That's all it is. There are no... well, you have to scroll down pretty far.
Okay. So, I know that on r/the asshole, there's a couple of rules when it comes to commenting.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Someone must have broke those. A lot of people.
What is the common thing that's making them all get removed? Because it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
I'm on there quite a bit, not nearly as much as you are. But I don't know if I've seen maybe one or two that have been removed.
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
not that many.
I just think it's very interesting.
Could it be because the topic of the post is about the child's genitalia?
It might be because of that, right? Like, this isn't... There's obviously no pictures, and it's
Yes.
not describing a sexual act.
Yes.
So it's not. It doesn't fall into the category of sex of a minor, but it is a minor's genitals, and
Yes.
therefore I'm like, yeah, maybe this is a touchy subject. However, circumcision specifically is a topic that is discussed.
Yeah, 'cause-
that happens almost exclusively to children.
Yeah, well, infants typically.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was interesting. Like, so my eldest son, who is 8, needed to have a circumcision. I'm like, are there medical reasons that you need to have a circumcision that happen when you're older that I'm just not aware of? There must be.
I've heard of some, mostly because after I had my miscarriage, I got like really into looking like around ethics and babies and all that junk.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of arguments for circumcision that are non-religious reasons,
Mm-hmm.
because it is possible for cancer cells, infections, and a lot of other stuff like that to happen with that foreskin.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's not properly cared for.
Mm-hmm.
Proper care and hygiene and good genetics and a good diet, it's usually not as big of an issue, but it can occasionally be an issue.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll assume there was a medical reason they needed this, and so that's why it was done.
Yes.
But man, what a strange thing to post on Facebook.
Like,
right?
you could just be like, oh, my poor baby is in the hospital, like, doing surgery. You don't need to bring his pee-wee into it. That's not something you need to mention.
Yeah, it just seems... I don't know, it just seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, no, that's totally bizarre. If I saw that in my feed, I'd be like, yo, so-and-so's effing crazy. I feel so bad for the kid.
Yeah, if I saw someone post on Facebook, I'd be like, oh, please, no one needs to know this. Like, it's not even that I'm not squeamish about it. Like, I don't care about genitalia. I don't care about circumcision in a way that, like, I'm uncomfortable by it, but I'm like, the kid probably doesn't want this aired. Like, this feels weird to do to someone else.
Nobody, like, it should not be a conversation with anybody except that child's future romantic partners.
Yeah, I don't know. It strikes me as odd. Because I'm like, I don't get this.
Yeah, no.
Do you think it's grounds for changing custody?
I don't know. Okay, this is another situation where it depends on how the other stuff goes. So we know so far, right, that the relationship between the biological parents is rocky.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It would depend on how the birth mother and the stepfather treats the child regularly. Is this just another instance of them humiliating this particular child? Another one of them using this child as a prop in their life?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this just a mother who has no boundaries with social media?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if it's the latter, then no.
Yeah.
This mom just made a bad judgment call.
Sure. The second statement in his post is, I focus more on the kids than her. Which I'm like, it's an interesting thing to say.
Yes, like that's a very interesting statement that you feel like you need to point out.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're making an argument about why you deserve more custody, that statement I could see being the one that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I put a lot more time and energy into the kids than she does, so I should have more custody. Sure.
Or is that the ex being upset that he puts more effort into the kids than effort into their relationship as individual adults?
Right.
Because it could be read as either.
Yeah. It's just very interesting. Because I'm like, I don't know that this warrants a custody battle. To me, I'm just like, this is something that's inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
And probably shouldn't be done. But I don't know that it has anything to do with custody. Which is why I'm like, that's very weird.
Yeah, no, like, if there's, like, other instances and this is just another example of the mother behaving this way, then yeah. If this is, like, the first big infraction, then calm your man tits.
What did you say?
I wanted to say calm your tits, but I realized that this is the father, so man tits.
Yeah, it sounds like to me, he already felt like he needed more custody of the kid.
And this was just an example, or like a justification.
I think it was the final thing, right? It's like, you pushed me over the edge with this post. Like, you're clearly not considering the feelings or well-being of this kid. So you shouldn't have as much control over his life as you do.
I wonder how many kids, does it say how many kids they have together? Because he said the oldest out of his kids was 8.
No, all that said is the wife and the new husband have a baby.
Yeah.
And his eldest son is 8.
His eldest son.
Yeah, considering that they
It's not our child.
divorced, she remarried and had another baby, I'm guessing he probably doesn't have too many other kids, but he might have another one.
Yeah, because if it was just, like, this was his only child, he would say my child.
Oh, what? They definitely have more than one.
Yeah.
Judging from grammar, they're friends with our kids' teachers, and it's kids, Kids apostrophe, which means kids possessive.
Okay.
So they have more than one kid who has teachers.
Okay.
So there's at least 2 kids that they have shared, based on the grammar.
Yeah, based on the grammar and just the phrasing and stuff, too. All right, well, that sucks. Well, I'm glad that the post was taken down, but it feels like the damage is done.
Yeah. Well, it might have just been made private.
Good point.
They don't know that the post was taken down.
Facebook. Ugh.
But yeah, man, I just, like, this is a weird thing to do. It's also really weird to me that the stepdad posted it. Like, that feels like a weird thing to me.
Well,
too.
I mean, it really depends. Are they, like, lifestyle vloggers? Is this just another example of them using that child as a prop in their life?
Man, I don't know.
I guess.
But,
Is there, like, an update?
no, not for this one.
Man.
This one was also only posted 23 hours ago. So.
Okay. Well, if we ever see an update, we'll do at the start of an episode an update about this.
Okay.
So I know that you mentioned that a lot of the comments were taken down by moderators.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of the surviving comments juicy?
Let's see here. Someone saying not the asshole. They're like, putting this kind of thing on social media at your son's age is a gateway to bullying. You're protecting your son. Pretty good argument there. They're like, yeah, even celebrities try not to post their kids' faces on social media.
That makes sense. Well, guys, we'll see you next week for the month in review. Make sure you get on Twitter and give us your votes. Okay, give Ryan your votes.
Well, yeah, just vote. We like the interaction. It's fun for us. And I'm always very curious what people think is the cringiest. Also, you don't just have to vote. You can comment and, like, you know, let us know why you voted for what you voted or what you think is.
That would be so nice.
Yeah, like, we can get a little discussion started. I'll respond to comments or retweets.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye. All right, well, I'm Ryan, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Build Right Roll, where I post about my professional Dungeon Master experiences. You can check out the links in the description if you're interested in hiring a professional DM or looking to level up your own DM skills.
And you can find me, V, at Cringe Queen at Instagram and Twitter, or check me out on YouTube as the Queen of Cringe, and be embarrassed with me.
All right, well, thanks for listening and cringing along with us.
And we'll catch you next time with more awesome cringe content.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible. Only one way to know. Only one way to know.
Hello, I am Patrick,
And I'm Andrew. And I'm Christian.
And I'm Allie.
and we are Rad Theater, a podcast where a bunch of friends play role-playing games and share a single brain cell, and the GM doesn't always have it. Oh, and it's theater spelled the correct way, Theatre.